Women are a particularly important part of a health conversation. And one of the conversations that we will have is on contraceptive use. We had discussed about menstrual health and just the things to know during that period of time, or that time of the month where a woman is going through her menses. Now we are going to talk about contraceptive use. Welcome to Health Digest, your authoritative health show. I'm Dr. Mercy Korir, and in this second part, still the same audience, still the same doctors, and I'll give them an introduction, and I'll start to my immediate left, Dr. Maureen Owiti, who's an obstetrician and gynecologist and a fertility expert. Also, Dr. Frederick Kairithia, who's also an obstetrician and gynecologist at Oasis Healthcare in Nairobi. And obviously, our lovely audience who've been engaging us, who've been asking questions on camera and off camera. And we will all make sure that you have part of this conversation. Now, today we are talking about contraceptive use. And studies here in Kenya have shown that 50% of actually more than 50% of sexually active women do not use any contraceptives. And there may be many reasons to this, and we'll ask the doctors, what are these reasons that people come as to why they are not on any contraceptives? We'll ask the audience what they've heard about it. Is it that people fear side effects? Is it that people do not know where to access these contraceptives? What is it that makes us have such high numbers? And the national average in Kenya, as we talk now, is 58%. This means about 6 women out of 10 are on a form of contraceptives. And from the studies that have been done in Kenya, Central Province is the one that has the highest number of women who are using contraceptives, and this is at 73%. And I'll go directly to the doctors and ask, why do we find, it is 2019, why do we find that these figures are not at 100% as we would expect, that women who are sexually active are on one form of contraceptive or the other? I think I can start with you, Dr. Owiti.
Thank you, Dr. Mercy. There are various reasons, and it's a whole mix. You've talked about fear of side effects, but I think the most, I'll say, will be mostly information. So there are a lot of myths and misconceptions surrounding the use of contraception. Some people feel that if they use contraception, they'll not be able to give birth in the future. And that, I think, is the hugest myth, because we have what we call method failure, whereby somebody is even on the contraceptive and they actually conceive. Fortunately, that's not very often, because others would stop using the contraceptives. But it's just to tell people that once you stop using your method, unless you do a permanent method, your fertility is going to come back. Side effects, again, so maybe you may find somebody used a method and maybe didn't have a very positive experience with that. But if you're not having a good experience, the methods are so many, so varied in terms of how you use them, how they work. You have different options, so you can probably explore a different method if you're not satisfied with one particular method. Sometimes maybe the idea of going to the clinic to go get the counseling, so you just don't make that effort and that time to go and get yourself a method. Others believe maybe they're not getting their periods, so because they're not getting their periods, they're not going to be able to conceive. Can be true, but not necessarily a true thing. So there are very, very many things, but the most important, I feel, would be misinformation and especially these myths and taboos surrounding the use of contraceptives. Okay. I don't know if Dr. you can add.
I think the other thing, just in addition to ignorance, the taboos and the myths around the whole thing, it's a foreign concept to most people, and they feel like they're being disempowered if they start using contraceptives. But also there is a role of culture and religion. There are some religious beliefs which do not condone use of contraceptives. Actually, it's against the teaching. So for you to penetrate there, it becomes a problem. And just as we mentioned previously, the lack of female empowerment in terms of the economic empowerment in making decision and actually following through the decision is a major impediment, because a woman may lack all the things that you've talked, may have the willingness and even they want to use the method, but they're not empowered to be able to access the method, both financially and even in terms of making decision.
Okay. And I'll still want to remain with you now that you're the only gentleman in this panel. Men have been known, I don't want to say notorious, but to be a major barrier in women choosing the kind of contraceptives they want to use, or even just choosing to use contraceptives. Is this something that you meet often in your practice and as you interact with people, because you've practiced across various places? Is this something that is common, or is it just one of those myths?
It's actually very rampant until sometimes I made a decision not to initiate contraceptives in a lady in absence of the husband, because it triggers a lot of unnecessary acrimony and a lot of disquiet in the family. So often we involve men, at least to come and get counseled. They are given the information, they ask questions, they are reassured, and then they give a go-ahead. In situations where you find ladies sneak in and get a method of their choice behind their husband's back, eventually it turns out nasty in terms of suspicion, yeah, and there are constant fights. So we actually encourage that as much as possible, unless somebody says outrightly that either they are single or they have an issue. Basically, we are not saying that women cannot make a decision on their own, because they have that autonomy, being adults and of sound mind. But as much as possible, considering the social aspect, it is good to involve their partner when making the decision.
Okay. Dr. Witt, is this something you also come across?
Yes, it's something I come across, but I would be of a very opposite view to my colleague. I would agree with him that it's good to have male involvement when the era of whereby we want our men to be involved in terms of our health and our health needs. Having had said that, if a woman comes for contraception and says she's very clear that her husband will not agree, but she feels she wants this method. She's a woman. And especially if they're going to be a person of consenting, they're over 18, I believe that method should be offered with counseling, but also explaining that it can lead to social acrimony, that she also understands that, and to see, but I would not deny a woman a method because her husband is against it. I think that would be denying her rights. But that's a personal stand.
Okay, interesting. I don't know what... Okay, there are many hands. I think we can start there.
Habari zenu.
Nzuri.
Iko sawa.
Kwa majina naitwa Rose Bidhe. Swali yangu ni moja, na before niulize hiyo swali, ningependa kushika mkono Dr. Fred, kwa kuwa wakati ule tunapokosa kuwauzisha wale wanaume pale, wakati mwingine huyu mama anaweza kwenda kupata hiyo upangaji wa uzazi na ikuje imletee matatizo. Ikimletea matatizo bado atarudi kwa ule bwana. Number 2, wakati tunapofanya kazi pale chini kwa ground, tumeona mambo mingi kifanyika pale through upangaji wa uzazi. Sababu upangaji wa uzazi ndio ile kitu, kukaa chini na mama umconvince atoke pale aliambiwa na shosho yake lazima ufanye ABCD. Mimi nilifanya hivi, inakuwa ngumu sana kumtoa mahali pale. Wakati bwana anapokuja, unapomwambia mambo ya family planning, anakuambia hata babu yangu alizaa wengi na kuona shida yoyote. Nikikuja kusema kwamba wakati mama anapoenda kuchukua family planning peke yake, na ikuje mletee ile bleeding mingi sana, bwana atamwambia si ni zile vitu zako ulienda kujiwekea kule, na hiyo itakuja kuaffect hata familia yake mpaka hata kwa mother in law. Na wende ukuta ule mother in law ni ule wa kujishikanga hivi, ulijifanya unaweza kwenda kufanya. Sasa ndio hiyo anaambia kijana wake, wewe sasa jipange ulete bibi mwingi. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri, I support him 100% kwamba hao wanaume wauzishwe kwa kupanga uzazi yani kwa njia zozote zile, akuwe pale a witness, aone nini nawekwa, asiende kusema kile kitu. Asanteni.
Shukran. Yes. Lakini ningependa Dr. Kairithia, she's mentioned something about that the method may cause heavy bleeding. I don't know, these are some of the things that, we need to clarify. Are there those that would react like that?
First, it's good to say that there is no method which is 100% successful, and there is no method which lacks one or two side effects, at least initially. Because broadly we'll classify this method into the ones which contain hormones and the ones which do not contain hormones. So when these hormones are interacting in your body initially, before your body gets accustomed to them, you might have a few things, even lethargy, nausea, mood swings, And if the partner is keen, they are likely to notice. Again, it's good to clarify that we shall not infringe on the right of the lady to choose. But in as much as possible, let us bring on board the other key decision maker, because you're also keen to safeguard the marriage and the interest of the family.
Okay. There was a lady there.
Kwa majina naitwa Eunice Akinyi. Ningependa kuunga mwenzangu mkono kwa sababu ni kitu ilinifanyikia mimi mwenyewe, na ninaunga daktari mkono kwa sababu unaona wakati hujahusisha bwana kwa hii mambo ya upangaji wa uzazi inaleta shida, kwa sababu utapata wakati uko na shida ni vigumu sana kumweleza kwa sababu ulijificha. Kitu ya kwanza, aswa kama mimi nilijificha kitambo. Unajua kitambo kulikuwa na mambo ya pills tu peke yake, hakukuwa na mambo mingi sasa imekuja kama ya hawa wasichana. So wakati huo nilikuwa natumia pills hizi za kumeza kila siku. So unaona nilienda peke yangu, sikuhusisha mzee, nikikuja nayo naweka pale kwa kitchen. Usiku ikifika lazima nimeze ndio niende nilale. Ikafika mahali sasa imekataa mwili. Nimeanza sasa bleeding. Nikibeba kitu mzito nikiweka chini damu. Nikifanya nini damu, unaona? So ilibidi sasa mzee ajue. Sasa hapo unaona lazima vita ikue. So ni vizuri sana sisi kama wamama ama wasichana wenye wako hapa saa hii. Ni vizuri ukihusisha mzee, itakuwa kazi rahisi na itakuwa kazi rahisi pia kwako. Wakati umeugua utajua umeugua nini, na wakati umeenda kuchukua hizi family planning. Sana ninasisitiza ya kwamba tuende kwa health centers. Tusiende kwa hizi ma brokers, kwa hizi ma chemistry, kwa sababu chemistry ukienda unajua ataenda tu pale, utaenda useme mimi nataka family planning, atakuweka ile haifai na wewe. So ni vizuri uende kwa hospitali yenye inafaa, yenye daktari ni specialist na anajua ni gani anafaa kukuwekea. Ndio at least ukiwekewa utajua hata ukiwa na shida utarudi pale useme niko hivi na hivi, kwa sababu tukiwa pale mashinani hizi janga tunapatana nazo, kwa sababu unaenda kwa nyumba ya mtu unapata ako chini anasema ni mambo ya family planning. Ukimuuliza ati nimepata mimba na nilikuwa nafanya family planning, ukimuuliza ulikuwa unaenda wapi kuchukua hizi dawa, nilikuwa nimeenda kwa chemist fulani. So unaona pengine alienda pale kama siku zake zimepita na analaumu chemistry ama analaumu hospitali. So ni vizuri mtu aende hospitali yenye imeidhiniwa na serikali.
Shukran. Do you want to comment on that? She's raised really valid points.
Okay, I think she's raised a lot of points in terms of you should always go to a skilled healthcare provider in order to initiate the family planning. I think they're not getting my stand correct in that I'm very clear that you should involve your partner in terms of when you want to get the contraception. But I feel, and I'm still going to maintain the stand, that if a woman feels she can't disclose to her husband, because things are different. I don't see why I should deny her the method because her husband has refused. And I'm very clear on that. I'm for the woman, and I'm going to support the woman at any given chance. So that is my stand.
Okay. And she's talked about the young ladies here, and I want to ask Daktari. We see quite a number of teen pregnancies. Towards the end of the national examinations last year, it was a major discussion. And people are some quarters are of the opinion that we shouldn't introduce our teenagers to contraceptive use because of whatever reasons. And some opine that probably we'll be introducing them into sexual activity, but we're seeing them pregnant. How, from a professional standpoint, how should we address this? Which one, in my point, I usually see it as choosing a lesser evil. What should you do? Allow them to get pregnant, or talk them through, and if they need contraceptives, put them on them?
I think one thing we need to emphasize is that for every teenage pregnancy, there's an adult man somewhere just hovering who took advantage of this teen. So we cannot just focus on the problem by provision of contraceptives. Remember, contraceptives, pregnancy is just a culmination of many other things. In this country, people may fear pregnancy even more than STDs, HIV, and even disruption of academic life. So my take would be, let's zero in and educate the young girls. For those who, maybe there should be some criteria we need to consider and actually give them. If you find that education is not working and yet you need to protect this lady from unwanted pregnancy, they need to be given. But I will not give that as the first prescription because of the legal consequences and other issues around there. The last comment is, in addition to educating the girls, then we also need to come to a point where we see the laws being applied properly to deal with the pedophiles and people who perpetrate these activities and cause pregnancies. Yeah, so it has to be across the board, not just one dimension.
I would agree with him. There are a lot of cases, but you'll also find that in a number of cases, they're engaging with people who are actually their peers as well. So this is a national issue. It's involving everybody. So in as much as we also want to protect the girl child, where is the male child in this? Where are parents? Where is everybody? And we have to just take the bull by its horns and not bury our heads in the sand. And fortunately, the government on that point has made strides. We have what is known as youth-friendly services, whereby we are able to give youth counseling services. And as he has said, the message is exactly the way he said. Our first message would always be abstain. You don't need to be sexually active, and that's the first message. But you find this a situation, based on the situation you gauge, whereby probably it's already too far, even if they've already started, can they have a behavior change and go back to abstaining? Because they don't need to be engaging in these things. They feel they're not able to have the behavior change, then at that point, would this be somebody that we're going to be able to offer them? So in the youth-friendly clinics, they're able to take up this challenge and help these young adolescents to make decisions on what's the way forward.
Okay. All right. Yes? Wanda? Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm Peter Mutinda, and I'm not disagreeing with Doctor when she's against the idea of either a man going to the clinic with his partner. But we are living in a world where men have to change so fast, because changing to this modern life has to be an involvement since when we are young, because It's we're no longer talking of withdrawal methods and all that, the old systems. We have to change, and we understand this. Again, the ladies have to, I think sometimes they are misusing this chance, this opportunity, because they're going to quacks, people who do not know how to handle this. And they're doing what I call the trial and error method. Is it working? No. Come next week. Is it working? Come tomorrow. And sometimes they are misusing this, they are abusing these contraceptives. Talk of e-pills and what have you, because they are swallowing them like rice. Yeah, after everything, they swallow them, and they feel they are safe because they have their classes out there. And talking of like, this will have its outcome, of course, because it will have to do with hormonal imbalance. Talking of coldness, because we men, boyfriends and men there, have our classes as well. And our classes are not so good. Eh? We talk. Yes, we talk. And when men talk about a lady being cold during intercourse, it means you quit. Okay? Because we are told in our classes that that's a permanent thing, it will never change. Okay? Mm-hmm. And men will talk out there, my wife is not the way she used to be. My girlfriend is not the same as she used to be. So I think the involvement will be of essence there. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Kairithe, you want to do a quick one on that one?
I think I can't agree more with what you have said, only to state that it is not scientific that you get cold, but you get is the suspicions we are talking about, and really ignorance is not a good thing. But if you take this couple through, or the lady herself, then they are able to go through contraceptive. The last comment is that when we are starting people on contraceptives, we actually score them. Yeah, there is a tool we call medical eligibility criteria, which means one person can be using one method, which is very good for them, but they cannot use another method. So we look at their medical records, their allergies. We look at what they have used before. We look at the duration they want to postpone pregnancies, and many other parameters. So there is no one method which fits everyone, and that's why initiation of these methods should be done by somebody who is qualified, either a doctor or a nurse. There are some very highly trained and experienced nurses, like the ones who worked in the youth-friendly facilities Dr. Maureen has talked about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Amanda.
Hi, it's Amanda.
First of all, I'm grateful that you've touched on the youth, because I'm in that age bracket where most of all my friends, including me, we're all sexually active, but we're exposed to so many infections. So does a contraceptive help, with curbing the infections or not? And also, does it help with, now let's say we're already exposed to the infections, right? So we can get them, we can keep getting them, and recurring infections. So that's also another challenge with all of us. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Amanda. Dr. Owiti?
That's a fantastic question, Amanda. And I'm so happy that as a young person, you're able to articulate your issues so clearly. And as I said, when we get young people coming in, always our message is very, very consistent, that we'll explain to you that, look, you're exposing yourself. You're exposing yourself to infection, you're exposing yourself to pregnancy, and your body, depending on how old you are, especially if you're under 18, your reproductive system is not yet fully ready to undergo these things. So even if you get a pregnancy, it's going to have more complications than a full-grown adult. You get an infection, it's going to have a more serious implication than for a full-grown adult. So our message always starts for young people. Please, we call it ABC, and the A stands for abstain. If you can't abstain, then be faithful to your partner and always use a condom. Condoms are the only thing that are going to prevent you from getting sexually transmitted infections. So our message is very clear, and as you can see, we're very open. We're not against society. We're just being practical and open to the challenges that we're having in the society. I don't know if I've answered your question, my dear. Thank you.
You make it very, very brief. Yes.
Okay, my name is Kate. I want to ask for the married people who are here, is there a maximum period of taking contraceptives? Like there's this for 5 years, 3 months. Okay, just like for how long will you take if you want to get the next kid? Or is there a maximum period or just any time?
Okay. Dr. Karitha?
Again, that's a very important question because we are looking at customizing the service. And to customize, you have to understand what the customer needs. So for us, the client coming for contraceptive is a customer. So some of the things we'll ask is, how long do you want to postpone this pregnancy? Is it forever? Do you have any complications? There are people who use contraceptives because they're having an illness which require to be treated. Then from there they can resume childbearing, or they're in school, or they have had surgeries. You get the point? So we try and customize. There is no clinically defined maximum duration which you can use contraceptive, unless if you develop side effects or out of personal preference you want to change to something else. Okay. But most of the methods, again, classified into immediate, intermediate, and long-term method. And the fourth class is the permanent method. So we engage based on what are your unique needs as a customer. What exactly do you want? What is driving you to use the contraceptive? Okay. And these are the questions which are answered during the counseling sessions.
Okay. I think that's a very nice precursor to our next conversation, because we are going to be talking about fertility, and these are some of the issues. How long should a woman delay, or contraceptives, even the cause of infertility to some couples, as probably one of the myths and misconceptions that are out there. So I think her question is a nice precursor to the conversation that we are going to have next week. We are going to talk about fertility, and we are going to pick from that question, and we are going to build on it as we discuss issues of fertility. We have been talking about contraceptive use. We have been discussing just about some of the myths and misconceptions around the use and misuse of contraceptives. And I think the point that we learned from here today is that what works for one woman does not necessarily work for the next woman, and therefore seeking the specialist care, seeking advice from the people who are trained and who are specialists in these issues, and particularly the issues of contraceptives, will really go a long way in making sure that you do not go through unnecessary medication, if any, or unnecessary methods that may not really work for you. So we end it there, but next week, same time, same place, we are going to continue this conversation on our third part of this series on women's health. I've been Dr. Mercy Korir, and I wish you all a very good evening.